Hi everyone! So I was about to embark on a nap, but my brain was ticking over with things I wanted to talk to you about, so I thought I'd just do this vlog first before put my head on the pillow. Okay, so I get quite a few emails that are career related, people wanting some advice, information, just tips on how to go about things. So I thought I'd do a few videos relating to careers, and today's one's going to be about, getting internships and work experience. If you're at university or college or whatever, all I'd say was start doing work experience or internships, apprenticeships as soon as you can. A lot of courses have placement years, but the ones that don't, make sure that you use your holiday time, your weekends, any gaps in your university schedule to try and get some experience, however small, however long, however short. It will really put you in a great position once you finish that degree or that course or whatever you're doing, because a lot of other people that haven't done that will have to then do that before looking for permanent work, and you will already have some experience under your belt. Now, my course didn't tell us this, so a lot of us didn't use our spare time valuably. We just used it to have fun, relax, or just carry on working on our projects. But a lot of the other courses, they really told you where to look to find internships, the sites, the sort of people you should contact, and really made a point of making sure people were doing that. So I just want to be that person to remind you and tell you that you should be doing that as soon as possible, because I left uni without any experience, and then I had to spend a lot of time doing it afterwards, competing with people who already had it. So how do you go about getting work experience? First of all, try and work out exactly what you want to experience first. You may not know what job exactly is your dream job or the role that you want to go for, so maybe write a list of possible roles you want to try. It's fine if you don't know what you want to do. Some of the most interesting people still don't know what they want to do, so that's fine. And a work experience is really valuable at learning what roles you do sit well in and what ones suit you, and they're also good at filtering out the things that in the end aren't what you thought they'd be or aren't quite suited to your skill set. So it's fine to try different sort of experiences. How do you contact people? It's amazing how small the world is. You probably have a neighbour that knows someone who may be able to give you really suitable placement. I don't know, I could go on, but so just make it known that you're looking for something. When you speak to people, whether it's your postman, your dentist, your neighbour, your mum's best friend, whatever, make it known what you're looking for, because you never know what connections they have and who they might know, and they can always put you forward. And that always helps actually if a friend puts you forward, because they're more likely to take you on and give you a chance. So put it out there on social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you're on, and just let people know when you're available and what you're looking to get, and who knows the response you'll get. If you don't get any good feedback that way, then you have to seek it out yourself. I remember at the time I was looking, the University of Arts website listed a lot of opportunities on there, and depending on what your industry is, there probably are websites that list possible opportunities for you too, so make sure you've had a Google and just check there aren't websites listing opportunities for you. If not, find out some companies that you're perhaps interested in working for. Now, don't just find any old email address and send over your CV. That's not the best way to go about it. You want to make sure you're targeting the correct person, the person that deals with the incoming CVs, with the graduates or the people looking for work experience. To do this, perhaps you can call the reception of the office or the building that you want to work in and ask the receptionist who is the correct contact to email regarding this. From my point of view, I know how annoying it can be to get hounded with emails that aren't for you or not applicable to you, so you don't want to fill up someone's inbox if it's not relevant to them. And you also don't want to send your information directly to the person that you may want to impress eventually. If they're not the person that deals with it, they'll likely have an assistant that deals with that sort of inquiry, and you don't want to be known as that guy or that girl that pestered them and rang them up and sent them numerous emails. There is a huge chance that they won't reply to you. It seems to be very common these days that people don't even acknowledge that you sent a CV or an email, and that can be quite frustrating at times, particularly if you're sending out so many emails and CVs and you're not getting anything back. You start to question whether there's something wrong with you or whether your approach is wrong. And I just want to say that is normal. I think everyone's so busy, so stressed out, that they just don't always have time to do it. I know it's a shame because it's not very polite not to just acknowledge an email, but that's the way it seems to be these days. So if that happens, that doesn't mean that's the end of it there. They might have kept you on file, and they might, you know, contact you at a later date when something suitable for you comes up. So don't think it's a lost cause. And make sure that every few months maybe you just kind of remind them of that you're here, that you're willing, that you're eager to learn and you'd love to work there. Send them an updated CV and that sort of thing. Obviously you don't want to do it too regularly because you don't want to be known as this pest. But doing it every so often will kind of show that you're still enthusiastic, that you're still interested, you've got a drive, ambition, which are all great qualities. They get tens, hundreds, thousands of CVs sent to them all the time. So how do you make sure yours gets read? Well, think about how you present yourself in the email or in the CV. You could do it in an alternative way, particularly if you're going for creative jobs. They'll be really excited by the fact that you've thought outside the box and maybe presented yourself in a different way to all the other CVs they've received. It can be anything from, I don't know, the envelope that you send your CV and your cover note in. It can be perhaps you, I don't know, draw a design on it. Perhaps it's a bright colour, perhaps it's a different shape to all the others. One of my friends said that they always sent theirs in one of those cardboard tubes, and because it didn't look like a CV, it looked like something more interesting, it generally got opened. Perhaps you could send it in video form or storyboard or animation. I don't know, it's not always suitable for all jobs, but maybe give it a bit more thought and maybe not do the obvious. Don't just send a CV, send a cover note. Tell them a little bit about yourself and what you're looking for and perhaps what you might be able to offer them. Always make sure that you've checked grammar and spelling and typos and that sort of thing, and just try and come across as kind of appealing as possible, polite, with ambition, someone that's willing to learn and listen and help as much as possible. Something I've found to be really effective is meeting people that you want to work with face to face. It's very easy to ignore emails and written things because you can't put a face to the name. There's no emotional kind of contact, there's no guilt if you don't reply. But if you've met someone, say they've come over to you, they said, look, I really admire you, I love what you do and I'd love to work alongside you, or I'd love to learn from you, or I'd love the opportunity. You feel more inclined to give that person a chance, you want to help them out, and if they then follow up with an email and say, hey, we met at blah blah blah, you're much more likely to get a reply. So I'd encourage people to, if they see someone that has a job that they'd be interested in learning the ropes for, or someone that works at a company that they'd like to do work experience at, do go and say hello, introduce yourself, be polite and courteous, and who knows what will happen. That's actually how I got my first internship, was by going up to a lady that worked at a magazine who was at an event, I can't remember what the event was, and then that led to my first work experience. If you get a negative reply, perhaps they say they're full up for now, or they don't think they've got an opportunity for you or whatever. There's all sorts of excuses you get, you'll see if you haven't started doing this yet. It's very hard not to get frustrated by it all or resentful, but whenever you reply really positively. Say something to the note of, thank you very much for getting back to me and letting me know. Please do keep me in mind if anything comes up in the future, as I'd love to you know, join you there for blah blah, or would love to learn from you, or would love to gain experience with you. It's much better than not replying and seeming ungrateful, or replying and sounding a bit shirty, because that's not very professional. It's not the attitude that they'll want to have around them. So if you reply courteously, that can go a long way. In my day, when I was doing work experience, you didn't get paid at all, and quite often they can even cover your travel. These days I think the rules are a bit different. I think there's a lot of backlash about internships a few years ago because a few people did expose kind of stories about it. So I think you now have a right to get at least travel. I could be wrong, but check that out. I think that obviously depends as well whether you're in the radius, the catchment area that they want people from, because they can't pay for you to travel from, you know, Timbuktu to London, but you see what I mean. But you have to be prepared to obviously work for no money, and it can be long hours, it can be highly stressful, and you're sometimes talked down to as the intern. That's just a fact of how it is. Really try and not let it get to you. Just think of it as a short period of your life, an investment if you like, that will hopefully lead to great things. I've got to be real with you though. Even if you land your dream internship at what you think is your dream job, you won't necessarily get a job at the end of it. In fact, it's highly likely you won't, because there's just not enough jobs to go round. And if it is a really sought after place that you are gaining experience at, the likelihood is jobs don't come up that regularly, because if you've got the job you probably won't want to leave unless, you know, you're having a baby or, you know. But there's so much more to be gained from work experience, so don't look at it just as the end goal of getting a job at the end of the few months you're doing or whatever. First up, you can make some great friends. I'm still in touch with quite a few of the people that I interned with. Only they will understand what you went through, so you'll always have that connection, those memories. Some good, some bad, but that will always be a bond between you. It makes you grow up a lot, because you have to, if it's the first kind of proper job role you've had after uni, you really learn what it is like to do 9 to 5 or 8 to 10 or whatever it ends up being. The realities of commuting, getting on with people that you've not met before, or people you wouldn't necessarily want to hang out with, biting your tongue, being enthusiastic, all these sorts of things. So you not only grow up fast, you also learn new skills, you learn how to be around people and be confident around people. So there's all sorts of skills and valuable lessons you can learn from it. And I would say always go the extra mile. If you're there for a month, what's a month out of your life to just go 110%? I know that's not a thing because everything's 100%, there isn't 110%, but I mean just go the extra mile. So get there earlier than you need to. I always made sure I was first in the office, so I was getting things done. So when people came into the office, you know, things were organised, things were ready, and they could see that I was eager to please, eager to learn, that sort of thing. And you may well end up being the last one in the office too, but that kind of shows how passionate you are about, you know, pursuing your goals and about doing a good job. Be ultra polite, even if they're not being polite to you. There may be times when people speak to you in a way that isn't ideal, but you've got to bite your tongue, just act professional at all times, just smile and do what you need to do. One thing I've found from speaking to people recently is a lot of people have been put off getting interns because it's actually a bit of a hassle for them because it takes longer to explain to them how to do something than just doing it themselves. So if you are there, try and use your initiative as much as possible. Obviously, if you're really stuck, try and ask someone that isn't perhaps a senior person, someone that can just help you out a little bit and guide you in the right direction. But you don't want to become a pest and just you know, a burden. You're there to try and make things easier for them, so you don't want to be that person that's constantly asking how to do something. Try and see if you can work it out yourself, but if you're really stuck, then, you know, go and ask someone for help. Do extra research, so when you come in you've got all this knowledge and you can really impress people with your knowledge of whatever the industry is that you're working in. You know, throw some ideas out there that might impress them. They might see that you can offer the company something that they didn't know that you could. Even when you've left, maybe send them a letter or an email or a token gift just to show your appreciation for them having you there. It will mean that they're reminded of you even though you've left, and it will leave a fond memory of you as well. And who knows, they might recommend you to someone else should they hear of an opportunity coming up, or if you're applying for another internship, it will probably increase your chances of getting it because they will recommend you highly. Word of mouth in a lot of industries does a lot of good and bad, so just make sure you're the best you can be at these things. If you're not professional, if you're not nice to be around, if you're unpleasant or if you're rude, you know, people will find out and it won't do you any favours. So just be smiley even if you're hating what you have to do. It's a great way of kind of working out what your dream goal is in career-wise, whether you prefer working in a big office or with a small team, whether you want to work in the city or a bit more local to you. Perhaps whether you're more suited to admin roles or more creative roles. All these things kind of become clear as you start doing them, and you might find it's completely different to what you thought it would be. That's definitely what I found to be the case. I can't cover everything in these videos because they'd be a million hours long. If you've got any more specific questions about anything related to this, just put them down below and I promise I'll answer them. So yeah, and if there's any more work related, career related videos you want me to do, I'll do that. So leave a comment below with that as well. Give me a thumbs up if this was helpful at all, and see you soon.